It's a new year and a new chance for you to make a fresh start with your compliance. We're going to be bringing you a daily tip, strategy, or idea that you can use to improve your program. Here's your host, Tom Fox, the Compliance Evangelist.
We're going to have a quick word from our sponsor, and we'll be right back. What is the best single-author handbook for a best practices compliance program? I would humbly submit to you that it is the Compliance Handbook, 5th edition, by myself, Tom Fox. It's published by LexisNexis, and it's designed to give you information on how to improve your compliance program literally across an entire year. Each entry has 3 key takeaways of things you can do at little or no cost for your compliance program. I'm going to link to it in the show notes, so check out the Compliance Handbook, 5th edition. Day 9, continuous monitoring and continuous improvement. Continuous monitoring and continuous improvement are 2 of the most important phrases for every compliance programs. These twin concepts were further enshrined in the update to the evaluation of corporate compliance programs. All companies' risk models changed as we moved from working from home to return to the office, and many times now a hybrid model. In addition to this straightforward change in risk due to work locations, new risks in the form of geopolitical, supply chain, export control, as well as increased risk due to social media continue to impact compliance programs. Your compliance program must be ready to respond wherever those risks are going forward. The ECCP posed several questions in the following categories: risk management process, risk-tailored allocations, updates and revisions, and lessons learned. These question-by-question analysis begin with, is the periodic review limited to a snapshot in time or based upon a continuous access to operational data and information across functions? Do you have access to continuous and real-time transactional data at your organization? How about silos within your organizations? Most likely the answer to both is no. This means you no longer have a best practices compliance program at this point in time. How can you garner such information? While there is only one question in the lessons learned section, it is a compound question. It not only inquires about the data you have obtained through your own work, but also from other companies in your industry operating in the same geo-region. Without commenting on the potential antitrust aspects of this, if there is public source information available to you, and of course there always is, how are you using this information in your compliance program? But this can be simply having your fully operationalized employee base keeping their ears and eyes open at trade shows or other gatherings of industry employees. Also embedded in these 2 questions is another old theme in compliance. Is there sufficient documentation in your compliance program? But here, the question is about the documentation of data garnered and how you utilize this data. I have long preached the mantra of document, and this mantra is now as important as it has ever been. It is not simply that you documented it, because in the government's eyes, if you didn't, it never happened. It is that if you documented the basis for your decision, you can explain your decision-making calculus. Remember, no compliance professional, compliance program, or even company under FCPA investigation or scrutiny has ever been punished for making an incorrect decision where sufficient and documented business justification was in place. Such entities and persons have been sanctioned when there was no documentation in place. The next area for continuous monitoring and continuous improvement is in policies and procedures. When was the last time your policies and procedures were updated? Perhaps more importantly, under the 2023 ECCP, what was your process for doing so? Was there any rigor around your process? Did that rigor include incorporating information and data collecting through continuous monitoring, real-time monitoring, or continuous access to operational data and information across functions? The 2023 ECCP asks as you attract who is looking at your policies and procedures and where they are located as data points for you to consider in updating your compliance program. As a consideration is appropriately called continuous improvement, periodic testing, and review, and it is found under the subsection monitored evolving updates. Similar to the language under the risk assessment, It asks you to consider the adaptation of your compliance program from your own lessons learned. But once again, what about from other companies? The distinction is now included in the phrase, other companies facing similar risks. Think about this language as it would apply to any company operating in China, West Africa, or other high-risk region in the globe. I would interpret this to mean every chief compliance officer and compliance practitioner needs to stay abreast of international anti-corruption enforcement actions where your company may be doing business. What are today's 3 key takeaways? Number 1, how has your company's risks changed over the past year and how will they change? Number 2, what is your process for continuous monitoring and continuous improvement? And number 3, what sources of information do you utilize for your compliance program that come from outside your organization? I hope you will join me tomorrow for day 10, where we look at leadership's conduct at the top. Thank you for listening to this episode of 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program. 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program is a part of the Compliance Podcast Network. If you'd like more information on any of the topics of this month's series, 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program, check out The Compliance Handbook 5th edition, available from LexisNexis. You can check it out at lexisnexis.com/Fox. I know you will find it useful and enjoy it. Thanks so much for listening.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.